All right, what's up, folks? This is Matt Barlow from Ashes of Ares.
This is Rachel with Grave Shadow.
Hey, this is John Yoland of Judicator.
Hi, this is Mark from Dragon Force.
This is Molly Kent, the Supreme of the Omenbringer Coven, and you are listening to the Great Metal Debate.
The Metal Debate podcast returns with another amazing metal artist interview. Today I'm joined by Matt with U.S. Doom Metalers Castle. Thank you so much for coming on the Great Metal Debate.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
So we're talking to you tonight at Reggie's in Chicago. This is part of your tour across North America. I was last here in December when it was pretty dang cold. I know this isn't your first time in Chicago. What memories do you have coming here and playing?
I guess it's been a while since we played anywhere, but we have played in this very venue next door. That was a show. That was a really good show. That was with Savage Master,
from Kentucky, yeah.
High Spirits, and local band in Satan's Hollow. So it was a stacked lineup, man. Very cool.
That is a great lineup. Yeah. And you're hitting a lot of cities across the north of North America in this run. Are those mostly repeats of places like Chicago, or are you performing in new markets where Castle hasn't played before?
Yeah, I mean, there's some new stuff. We're trying to hit a bunch of Canadian. We haven't done a full Canadian tour in quite a while, so we're trying to add as many dates in as possible. Like Hamilton, we haven't played since probably 2012.
Oh, wow.
Which was one of the first tours we ever did with Witch Mountain. So yeah, I mean, 13 years is a pretty long time. London, we haven't been to in a while. That was like, that's like a city I lived in for a long time. So it's cool to go back and play some places like that. Toronto was like a second hometown to us for a long time, So yeah, we're trying to mix it up, play some old places, some new places.
And at those places that you've been to before, and maybe it's been some number of years, is it mostly new fans, or are you seeing some folks who are like, hey, I was here last time, he came through, and I'm stoked to see you again?
Well, that's a good question, because I've noticed since we haven't been out since 2018, and the world is different, every aspect of it, and we notice it. We talk about it on tour, we talk about it just looking at the shows, how it's all going. But I mean, I've noticed that you expect to see the familiar faces that saw us all along the way, like older guys like me, that are into that kind of stuff. But there have been, at all of the shows thus far, like newer fans, and you're like, how the heck are these people hearing about this? But they're hearing about it just probably the old-fashioned ways, right? Word of mouth or the internet, etc., etc. But it is really cool to see the new and the old, and so that's been a happy surprise for us, actually, to see that there's like some growth, regeneration, whatever you want to call it, but the scene is still kicking for us, yeah.
Awesome. That's a good sign for the future. Now, the event here tonight at Chicago Reggie's, you all are performing in part of Legions of Metal Fest. It's a great mix of bands. Do you all enjoy playing these festivals? I know you've done so in Europe as opposed to the individual headlining shows. Is there kind of a tension between the types of crowds you get and maybe the expectations that the fans have there when you perform?
Good question. I think that for us, like the show aspect of it is always the same. Like, we just try to get up and do our thing, get people into it, and have a good time. Everything else around it is pretty different. I like the mix of it. I like doing our own shows a lot because we can kind of set the vibe a little bit more. The festival thing is like kind of walking into chaos, and you never know. Yeah. It's like you're running around all day, all night.
True.
Where's so-and-so's got to do this, I got to do this. There's a lot of that, a lot of organizational stuff, but I really like it's kind of like being at the party or the show and also playing the show. So it's a cool mix, and then we get to see people we know from other shows, other bands. We get to see new bands I haven't seen yet, but I want to see. So it's great. We always try to make it to the festivals, and we kind of booked this segment of the tour around this festival. We've been trying to play this fest for 3 years straight, and we've had to cancel every time because of this or that, whatever reason didn't come through. So this was kind of the anchor of the tour. We've known Shane, the promoter, for a long time.
Yeah, good God.
Yeah.
And it also, though, has to be a little bit of a different vibe, because a number of these bands, this is a one-off. They're just playing this weekend versus you guys on tour. So, you were just talking about the timeline for the evening. You all are a little more under the gun than some of these folks.
I guess we have different considerations for sure. Like, having been traveling around for a while now, and then we have to get to the next city, and we're always thinking about, this and that. But, we're going to try and stick it out, because I know everyone wants to see Toxic Holocaust. So yeah, I think we'll be here till the end regardless, because I know everyone wants to see him.
Glad you're going to get to do that. Now, since this is the first time we've had you on the show, do you mind taking a moment to give us maybe the thumbnail sketch of how the band Castle came to be?
Yeah, sure. It was basically just a recording project of mine for a good 5 years. I wrote the first record, part of the second record. And then when I met Liz, it was just an instrumental, home recording project with all these songs. And then, Liz was really into it, and I found out she was a musician and a singer and came from this really musical family, and so we started to kind of put these ideas together and demo her vocals, and it just took off. I had no idea what I was ever going to do with it. I just did it year after year. I just kept writing songs. But when she came into it, we kind of became a band. And then it was really soon after that we started recording the first record, and then the second record, and then everything just kind of happened naturally. We didn't really set out to do it in any way, shape, or form, with a plan. It was just when she came along, things started happening, and then albums turned into tours, and then, stuff like that. So
you guys have been on a lot of tours. You guys have crisscrossed North America. You've been to Europe numerous times. Was that also just an organic outgrowth, or did you have a focus in mind of, we want to be a touring band?
Well, it beats working. So when we started doing it a lot, we're like, let's just do it as much as possible. And it was a lot of work, but there was years where we toured 6-7 months of the year, and we're able to just kind of do that for a number of years. But the pandemic wiped it all out, and now we're doing other things, but. And then basically the rebirth of the band was as natural as the beginning of the band. We just wanted to do a new record, and I had some songs, and Liz got into it. And then, since we have a record, now people are saying, are you going to play? You want to do this festival, etc. So, these are the motivations, really. It's like this push and pull of the opportunity shows up, and then we got back into it. And it was a little tough at first. The European tour was the last year was a long one out of nowhere. After not touring, all of a sudden you're on the road for almost a month, and but we're kind of back into the swing of it now, back in our home turf, so to speak, and having a great time. Yeah.
Well, that was a segue into my next question, was about your latest album, your sixth full-length album, Evil Remains. It was your first album since COVID, and so do you mind talking maybe a little bit more about kind of that COVID period? Were there thoughts about ending the project entirely? Did you use it to write and come up with new music? Kind of what happened during that period?
Well, like everybody else, it's just we were a touring band, so all of a sudden we couldn't tour. And then, we had just finished the cycle of Deal Life 8. We did a lot of shows with that. We did a lot of tours with that. And then we were just going to take some time. And then that became 2 or 3 years. But I was constantly writing during that time anyways. But we were in no rush after the pandemic. We thought, I've been in the bar industry and live music industry my whole life, basically, so you could kind of see that it wasn't back to where it was. Even year 1, year 2, it was like a slow bounce back. It was like the bigger bands came first, and then the medium bands came a year later, and then, you know, the smaller touring bands, the independent bands, really didn't really kick back in to like a healthy level until 2024, I thought. And I didn't think it could sustain. Like, we couldn't really sustain ourselves on the road, so we were in no rush. But also, we were in no rush to finish the record because we wanted to make sure it was exactly what we wanted. You know, so we were rewriting songs, we were rehearsing the songs, and, you know, taking our time. Like since the first album, we had never taken that amount of time. Let the songs evolve. You know, like, we would write the song, record it, and then it would evolve in a live state over the following year of playing shows. This time we wrote the songs, kept rehearsing them, rewriting parts, and let it evolve like that, and then recorded kind of like like the song in its heightened kind of evolutionary state, so to speak. Like, we always wanted to do that. Like, what would it be like if we wrote a song and toured it for a year, then recorded it? That's kind of what we were trying to do with this record, you know, to get more of a, you know, like, dynamic sound, like more of a live band feel. So we recorded it like that as well, you know, basically entire takes live off the floor. So all that took time. You know, and it was like we didn't plan on all this time.
Well, you had the time, so...
Yeah, we had the time, we took advantage, and then to really get back into the live thing took time as well, you know, yeah.
So, about 8 months have passed since the release of Eva Remains. How pleased are you kind of looking back, and especially given that you poured so much time and effort and thought into it, how pleased are you with how those songs came out, and especially now that you're getting to perform them live in front of an audience?
I don't think I've ever been happier with the record. There's always a feeling of, you know, could have done this or that better, right? But this record, I think we got it to a place where we felt really good about it. Looking back, I still think that, and it's cool because the songs, like, we play almost the whole record live now. Like, if you saw a headlining show, we're almost playing the entire record. We've never done that before. There's songs that we've written that we've never played live. So that, I think, is a testament to us. What we wanted to achieve was to keep the songs natural and have a natural kind of dynamic and feel to them, and they lent themselves to the live situation really easily, you know. So.
Well, and I want to speak to that because this was my first time to see you all perform live this evening, and having heard the album, I'll be honest, I was a little taken aback by the dynamism and aggression you all brought to that performance. I mean, it's not like these are a bunch of slow rockers anyway, but just so much passion and power and energy you all brought. I mean, is that come natural to you? Do you guys pump yourselves up before the performance? How do you get it to that point? Because you all brought it for the 35, however many minutes you played on stage.
I appreciate it. It's definitely a thing that came from playing so much live. You know, a lot of people comment on that it's kind of two bands. Like, you sound this way on record, and then live is like there's a different energy to it.
It's like it's on steroids.
Yeah, well, that's why we put out a live record, because like some people have never seen us live, and we're like, oh, it's not a completely different sound band, but it's pretty different. And I think it's the energy. Like, we talk about it all the time. Like, we're not trying to be perfect or play the record. Like, we're trying to go somewhere with it. You know, bit of a ritual involved in like just getting lost in it, and just like trying to get people in, like, to go there with us.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean? So that to us is like, when we can pull that off, it's kind of what we're trying to do. And usually that involves some the intensity and or whatever you call it, like a heightened emotion or whatever. But yeah, and it can come across as like kind of a little more aggressive musically as well. I think that's just the natural part of the energy. But we also try to bring the mood, like, kind of create the mood as well, you know, for like the slower stuff or whatever. Just the experience of live, you know. I don't really want to recreate the record.
Sure.
And so if I'm seeing a band, I just want to see them jam hard, play together. That's what we're trying to do.
We all definitely did that. And another thing that really impressed me was, and nothing against some other bands, but sometimes if it's just a three-piece, I find the live sound a little lacking. You guys, there was still a fullness to the sound and presentation. Is that something that you'll do anything live to try to make sure you fill in the gaps?
Yeah, that's something we worked on since the very beginning of the band, because I know the limitations of a three-piece, but I also know the power of it too.
Yeah.
Because the bass can take up a huge space. The guitar can take up a huge space. The vocals can be really present. But I think we had to really learn how to. When we write a record, we almost sometimes kind of rewrite the arrangements for the live presentation. Like the bass lines change, they take on aspects of a second or a third rhythm guitar that are on the record that I can't do. I'll change up, I'll play part of a rhythm guitar and then change it halfway through the riff and play the other part that you're not hearing. So the arrangements change, and we're trying to keep exactly what you said in mind, and that's just like to present the song the best way we can, make it sound full, like get some droning notes going in there, get some like sub-harmonics happening, and just kind of like just to build that sound, but there's a lot of elements we put into it, like the cymbals our drummer plays, like the tone of the drums, the tuning of the drums, just trying to use frequencies that play off each other and that stack into a larger sound. There's a lot that we put into the thinking about it and execution.
Sure, absolutely.
But after so many shows, it just we've been fortunate enough to be able to apply that kind of stuff. But that only came through touring, like seeing what works, what doesn't work. And hopefully, it's cool that you noticed that, though, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
thanks. I was very impressed with that. Like I say, nothing against some other bands, but sometimes that three-piece can. Yeah, just a little hollow.
My favorite bands are like Rush, Motorhead, like so many three pieces that I've always loved, and it's just a different approach when you're a three piece and the bass has to do a certain thing and the kick drum has to do a certain thing to pull it off live. So you just gear the songwriting towards it after a while. What works. Yeah.
Starting to wrap up with you, and following this North American run, you guys are hitting the road back to Europe, territory you're familiar with. How excited are you to get the band back across the Atlantic to see the European fans?
We're beyond excited, man. We just bought our plane tickets today, so that's always like you past the point of no return. It's you put your thousands of dollars down on the table, but up until that point, it's always like. There's so much at play, so much like logistics, like is that going to fall apart? Is that going to show full? And then you hit a point where it's like we're committing. So we did that today, and we're all pretty excited at this point. And there's a few festivals and some of our own shows, so it'll be a nice mix. And the last tour went really well, beyond our expectations, so we're hoping for more of the same.
Excellent.
Yeah.
You guys are going to kill it over there. Final question: was the best way for fans to purchase music and merchandise from Castle, including your latest album, Evil Remains?
Well, depending on where you are, like Hammerheart has a great distribution system in Europe. It's much cheaper to buy it from them than from us because the shipping sucks. But if you're in North America, you can easily find it from us on any of our social media links and stuff like that. And I think Napalm is also distributing it elsewhere in the world, and they have lots of links and distribution from home countries where you don't have to pay for overseas shipping. So we appreciate it. Check it out, and hopefully see you on the road.
Well, I'm going to get some merchandise from you as soon as we're done with this interview in just a moment. But again, I was so impressed with your all's performance. Again, really taken aback just by the energy and passion you all brought to the stage. And I'm hoping to see you guys again sometime soon. And best of luck on the rest of the tour.
Thanks for having us. Appreciate it.